Heavy fighting is underway in and around the disputed eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut, the General Staff of the Ukrainian military said. Russia's defense ministry said that assault detachments had captured 2 districts in the center and northwest of the embattled city of Bakhmut. It came after the Ukrainian military said Russia had launched an unsuccessful attack on the outskirts of the city of Bakhmut. The move demonstrates Moscow's attempts to encircle Ukrainian troops inside Bakhmut. Ukrainian troops are expected to launch a major offensive against Russian soldiers who invaded their country 14 months ago. The conflict has reached a relatively static period in recent weeks, with escalations and minor gains made by Russia in the devastated Bakhmut area, but with Ukraine still holding out and taking heavy toll on Russia. Recent video footage shows the armed forces of Ukraine covered with artillery fire from 120mm mortar calculations from the Russian occupiers at firing positions in some forest. The Telegram channel Aerobomber reported this by publishing a related video taken by the unmanned aerial vehicle. The attacker is seen firing multiple shots. Then shells or mines started exploding near them. They started to run away. However, 2 of the 4 intermediaries died. Another was injured, lay in convulsions. For some reason, he began to undress. The mortar itself was also damaged by the melee explosion. Amid the battle for Bakhmut, Russian troops have been seeking to increase control over the entire Donetsk region, which they occupy about half of. By mid-April, Ukrainian forces continued to hold the section of town west of the railroad, while Russian forces, led by the Wagner Group, had captured the administrative center. The fight for Bakhmut has cost the Wagner Group and Russian troops, with as many as 30,000 people estimated to have died in or around the town in Donetsk Oblast over the last 10 months. Despite the lack of strategic value and the victory would likely be catastrophic, the Wagner Group's mercenaries had spent a fortune trying to take control of the city. Soldiers of the Ukrainian armed forces also destroyed 2 Russian invaders' armored fighting vehicles. In the first video, the unmanned aerial vehicle operator records how an invader's BMP-1 infantry fighting vehicle is on fire, and 2 attackers are lying beneath it. As it turned out, they knew the BMP had almost no ammunition, so they weren't afraid of being blown up. In the second video, also recorded by the UAV, fighters from the 25th Separate Sykes-Slav Airborne Brigade destroy another enemy BMP with artillery fire, which was towing an apparently damaged truck. The fate of his crew is unknown, but since the BMP was on the move at the time of the direct hit, it was clear he was in on it. Fighting continued in the disputed western region of Bakhmut, while reports of a partial Ukrainian withdrawal emerged over the weekend. Earlier, the UK Ministry of Defence issued intelligence updates suggesting that Russia may have diverted troops from fighting around the main Ukrainian battlefront while reinforcing troops in Bakhmut. Vladimir Putin's armed forces are making creeping advances around the city, the Ministry of Defense suggests. Heavy fighting continues along the Donbas front. However, there is a realistic possibility that Russia has reduced troop numbers and reduced offensive actions around the city of Donetsk, most likely to divert resources to the Bakhmut sector, the Defense Ministry said. In Bakhmut, Russian Ministry of Defense troops and the Wagner Group continue to make creeping progress. Western officials reject claims that Russia is close to gaining air superiority in the conflict. They insist that Kremlin warplanes fly close to Russian-occupied territory rather than carry out bombing raids over Ukrainian-held territory. In the Luhansk region, the armed forces of Ukraine destroyed 3 armored fighting vehicles and an 82mm automatic mortar Vasiluk from the Russian invaders. Domestic military expert Deep State reported on this on his Telegram channel, publishing a related video taken by the unmanned aerial vehicle operator of the 233rd Battalion of the 128th Separate Brigade setting fire. a classic artillery strike on a concentration of enemy equipment is demonstrated, resulting in at least 2 fuel oil burns brightly. Ukraine's military has quietly amassed troops in the northeastern region of Kharkiv to push back the contested Donbas, Russian media reported, suggesting a long-vaunted Ukrainian counteroffensive may be in its early stages. Ukrainian troops reinforced units around the city of Kupiansk in Kharkiv to carry out the offensive, according to Colonel Vitaly Kislyov, who the state news agency TASS named as a military expert linked to Moscow-backed officials in eastern Ukraine's Luhansk region. Russian-backed separatists in Luhansk and Donetsk, collectively known as Donbas, broke away from the Ukrainian government in Kyiv in 2014, and the two regions have seen some of the heaviest fighting since the start of all-out war in 2022. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on April 18 that Russia had lost 183,130 soldiers in Ukraine since the start of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes the 470 casualties suffered by Russian forces over the past few days. For weeks, Russian officials have signaled they were preparing a counteroffensive. On March 24, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said Kyiv troops were preparing for an attack. Everyone knows that. Our general staff is calculating this and preparing its own solution, Medvedev told Russian media. Meanwhile, the Institute for the Study of War said on Sunday that the Russian Ministry of Defense could allow mobilized troops to fulfill their obligations by signing a contract with Wagner. However, it is unclear what the status of troops originally assigned to conventional units and now with Wagner is. On Saturday, Wagner returned 130 Ukrainian POWs in an exchange not confirmed by the Russian Defense Ministry, which Newsweek had emailed for comment. This lack of confirmation suggests Wagner's autonomy from the Ministry of Defense, and Prigozhin is likely looking to redeploy the high-value members of his troops who have been part of the swap.